Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and I want to welcome you to the new and improved Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast. After many years of interviewing the best and brightest thought leaders around the world on my SiriusXM show, I am excited to now have those interviews available to people around the globe on this podcast. So many people would write us and say, I love what I've been hearing about your interviews with these great people. Where can I access them? I live in this country or that country, or I don't have access to that technology. How can I get the information? Well, I'm so excited now that we are able to offer the information and the interviews free on this podcast. So we want you to sit back and enjoy this message and let me know how you like them. And then do me a favor. If you like them, send a review. Write a review and post it. And if you like it, hit like on here and share it. And tell everybody you know about it. And then subscribe to this podcast so you'll get the alerts when we post a new interview episode. Thank you for listening and enjoy the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast.
Named one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world.
Inducted into the Speaker Hall of Fame.
Award-winning singer.
Best-selling author.
And now, here's Willie Jolley.
Well, it is a great day, and it is true that I do only have a minute. Only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, I can't refuse it. I didn't seek it, I didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it, give account. If I abuse it just a tiny little minute, oh, but our eternities are wrapped up in it. Well, greetings to you for taking time out to be with me today on this broadcast, on this podcast, on this program. And however you may get it, I am excited that you are here and that you are part of our community, our family, our group of people who want to do more, who want to be more, and want to achieve more. Thank you for taking time out to listen, and thank you in advance for sharing this with others. The reason why many people who are listening today, maybe it's you, are listening is because someone they knew, someone in their network said, hey, you better make it a point to listen to Dr. Willie Jolley because, man, his program has changed my business, has helped me make more money, has helped me have greater personal and professional and relationship success. Man, you better make it a priority to listen to him. So if someone blessed you and got you to listen, then I want you to bless somebody else, lots of somebody else's, and share with them, hey, make this a priority. Listen to Dr. Willie Jolley. Okay, I start, for those who are constant and ongoing listeners know, I start with that 1 minute every show. Written by Dr. Benjamin Mays, who was Martin Luther King Jr.'s mentor, who became, in absentia, my mentor. He was gone on to be with the Lord when I discovered his work, but I studied him. I listened to him. I sat at his feet through his books and through his audios and became a student of his thinking and how he influenced a young Martin Luther King Jr. that his intellect was not all that was going to be necessary for him to do great things, that he had to think bigger and dream bigger and risk bigger. And so I learned that if you can find the teacher of the great ones, then you can start to do great things well. So I sat at his feet through his books, his audios, and his messages, and I grew. So that is one of the pieces I adopted or adapted over 30 years ago, and I'm so grateful for all the people now who put it at the beginning of their messages, and they said, I've heard Willie Jolley speak, and I love that message. I don't care where it comes from, as long as people are inspired. So I start with that minute, and then I take a minute and give God glory, give him some praise. I'm grateful. I'm grateful, grateful, grateful. And I've learned that when you're grateful, you ought to tell folks. And I give God glory for being grateful for life and strength and health, for being able to be alive in the land of the living one more day. So I don't take it for granted. You know, somebody had a list of things they were going to do today, places they're going to go, people they're going to see. They had a whole packed agenda, but they didn't wake up. So every day I wake up, you know, someone once said the best part of waking up is waking up. So I tell you, I'm grateful to wake up, and I'm grateful. Now, I want to thank all of you who are now listening to my latest edition every morning across America on the Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell. You can hear Wake Up and Win with Dr. Willie Jolley at 8:20 Eastern Time or 7:20 Central Time, or on your line online wherever you are in the country or in the world, with my Wake Up and Win message with Dr. Willie Jolley on the Praise Network and on the Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell. And so I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful for the podcast, and I'm grateful for the Monday night Happily Married Mondays with the Jollies that has become very popular. People all over the globe are sending us notes saying, we watch Monday nights. Our marriage is better. Our relationships are better. Thank you. So I'm just grateful for all of you. Now, my guest today, I bring the best. I really do bring the best and the brightest. I really am blessed to have a network of some incredible people who bless me by just being my friends. And today is another one. This guy he literally is global. Now, this is not just figuratively, you know, one of the best in the world. You've heard people say so-and-so is the best in the world, and they've never been out of the United States, or they've never been heard by anyone, but they're really good, and so they assume they're the best in the world. Well, this guy is the best in the world. Let me tell you. He won the World Championship of Public Speaking, going up against 25,000 contestants from globally all over the world that were sent via Toastmasters International. He became the number one speaker that year when he won in 1999. He's gone on to become an award-winning speaker, a iconic sales expert and trainer. He's traveled the world helping speakers, executives, entrepreneurs, salespeople, and help them to grow their revenues. He's done it incredibly. And he has a best-selling book on Amazon. He also was the salesperson of the year 3 times for McGraw-Hill's publishing company. He became an award-winning management trainer for one of the most prestigious and largest seminar companies in the United States. He produced sales years of 233% improvement, 157% improvement, and 152% improvement over all the others. He has sold more than 8 million alone in educational resources in a single year. This guy is on the ball. He has won the Rising Star Salesperson of the Year, Events Manager of the Year, Congressional Award of the Year. This guy is the man, and I'm grateful to call him my friend. His name is the one and only. If you're in the speaking industry, if you ever been to Toastmasters, if you ever learned about becoming a speaker, a communicator, a salesperson, you know his name, Craig Valentine. Craig, are you there?
I'm here, Willie. And I tell you what, I think 1999 was a good year for both of us.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Thank you for reminding me. That's right. It's the same year. So for those who don't know, in 1999, Craig won the World Championship for Toastmasters. In 1999, I was honored to be named one of the top 5 speakers in the world by Toastmasters. And there have only been 50 people in history who've been given that award, including Colin Powell, Norman Schwarzkopf, Nelson Mandela, Margaret Thatcher, Christopher Christopher Reeve, Les Brown, and Zig Ziglar. So I'm just honored. But yeah, that was a good year, Craig. That was a good year. So you're from Philadelphia, grew up in Columbia, Maryland, and had matriculated on to become a great, got your MBA, but a great salesperson and speaker. But tell me more. I just gave him the thumbnail sketch. Who is this guy, Craig Valentine? Who is he? Where did he come from? Tell me a little bit about him.
Well, I can remember being in the Columbia Mall when I was 10 years old, and something disturbing happened to me. I'm 10 years old by myself. I run into a father of one of my friends. I refer to this guy as Mr. H. And he looked at me, and he said, "How you doing?" And I told him. He said, "What's going on in your life?" And I told him. But he kept looking at me really strange. And then finally he looked down at me, and he told me that I had a lisp. You know, the lisp, a speech impediment.
Yes.
Yeah, right. And here are his exact words. He said, "Craigie, don't talk anymore, because every time you open your mouth, you remind me of Daffy Duck."
Wow.
Yeah. Now, I don't know what that would do, but I know what that does to a 10-year-old kid. It took my confidence, my esteem, everything, and it plummeted. And Willie, for about 4 or 5 years, you couldn't get a word out of me.
Mm.
You know how Les says, when you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are.
Yes.
I didn't want people making fun of me. But finally, after about 4 or 5 years, when I forced myself to face reality and I started going through what I now call my 4 R's to remarkable results, I can stand before you today as the 1999 world champion of public speaking.
Wow.
And the best part about this is the same people who kicked you when you were down will pat you on your back as you move forward. Because when I saw Mr. H, I saw him 18 years later at this place where I go work out, and I looked at him, and he looked at me with the same strange eyes, and he said, "Congratulations on all your success, this and this and that." And he said, "But I saw this article about you, and it said when you were 10 years old, some man had the nerve to call you Daffy Duck." And I said, "Mr. H, that was you." I said, "You don't remember?" He said, "No, Craig, but I'm sorry. I'm really sorry."
Wow.
And eventually I said, "You know what, Mr. H, that's despicable." And I made light of it. I made light of it. We got along, and everything was fine. But, it wasn't easy, Willie. I had to work on my diction. Not my addiction, my diction.
Not the addiction, but the diction. I got you.
Diction. Let me make that clear.
Yes.
And then I did that for years and years, and then finally it culminated in me winning the World Championship of Public Speaking. But even that wasn't easy. There were some challenges for that. In 1999, early 1998, actually, I got into a Toastmasters contest, and it was a humorous speaking contest, and I lost at the lowest level possible.
Mm.
Yeah, and I'll never forget a guy named Alan Mish came up to me afterwards. He was a seasoned Toastmaster named Alan Mish, came up to me afterwards. He said, "Craig, you can win the World Championship of Public Speaking." And I said, "Alan, what are you talking about? I just lost a humorous speech contest at the club level." And he said, "That's okay." He said, "The only thing wrong with your humorous speech was that it wasn't funny."
Mm.
and what he was basically saying to me, Willie, was you can give the same type of speech with some humor, but with a really heartfelt message, and you can go win the World Championship. I took his advice. I went out there, and I did like you said. I took a setback, turned it into a setup for a comeback. I came back and ended up winning the World Championship of Public Speaking. So it wasn't easy, but it was worth it.
Wow. Wow. You know, what I like out of that, a couple of things that I want to make sure people understand. One was that he didn't have the perfect skill to become the world championship. He had a lisp, but he worked on it. He worked through that. You know, I have had all sorts of problems with my speaking over the years, particularly early in my speaking career, but I worked on it. I worked on my articulation. I worked on my diction. I would ride around in my car with audios that I would play on grammar and syntax and how to speak better and have better articulation. And I also loved how he said that he lost initially. He could have given up. He could have thrown in the towel, but he didn't. Sometimes you get somebody who will encourage you, hey, I know you lost, but you still can win. And sometimes you got to encourage yourself. And I think that's part of what Craig did. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We're going to tell you how to sell more, how to speak better, how to win more, how to make more money, and how to grow your family, your finances, and your futures. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways Show. And for sure, your best is yet to come. We'll be right back. Afraid of flying, I always kept my dreams on the ground. Life had enough ups and downs, but Lord, since I met you, all that's changed in the blink of an eye. Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and I have a question for you. Have you ever wondered why some people can make $1 million, lose it, make a second million, lose that, then make a third million, while other people can't even make ends meet? Well, the reason is that those people know the recipe for success. And that recipe is available to everyone if you will do what they did. They made a habit of getting positive, motivational resources of great thinkers and great learners. And I want to offer those same kind of resources to you. We've developed a free page on my website. It's wjspeaks.com/gift. wjspeaks.com/gift. On that site, we've got resources, books, audios to help you to grow, and they're free. So go to wjspeaks.com/gift, wjspeaks.com/gift, and get some of those resources, and then share that page with your friends and your family members. We want to impact and inspire millions of people. And remember, if you enjoy this message on this podcast, like it, share it, and post a review about it, and make a difference in the lives of others by letting them know about it. Have a great day. This is Dr. Willie Jolley.
A to the D to the T to the I to the T to the U to the D to the E. A to the T to the T to the I to the T to the U to the D to the E. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's all about your attitude.
And we're back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways Show. And I want to say to all of you, thank you again. I hope you are enjoying this show. I want to take a moment to give a shout out to our sponsor. Our sponsor today is jollygoodnews.org. jollygoodnews.org. Now, I am part of jollygoodnews.org, but it's not just me. It's a mission-based message or movement to help people to get past all the bad news, the sad news, the depressing news that it's impacting people, and get on to some good news, filling you up with the pure, the powerful, and the positive. Statistics show that depression is at an all-time high. And statistics show that people are committing suicide at higher levels now than they have in the last 10 years. So what is changed? Well, I think it's a influence of a lot of negative that's influencing people. A negative that's making them make permanent decisions for temporary problems. We got to give them some new data, some new information. And that's what we're doing at Jolly Good News. We're putting books into prisons. We're putting audios and videos into schools so that young people can change their thinking and not bring guns when they have an issue, but rather think through how they can succeed. And we're giving people resources for their marriages, for their relationships, for helping them win in their daily pursuits. So go to jollygoodnews.org, get some of the resources. Look at some of the programmings. And if you want to be a partner and a part of this movement, this mission to change the world in a positive way, join in, and we'd be glad to have you. My guest today is world-renowned, world-class He is the 1999 world champion of public speaking for the largest speaking organization in the world, Toastmasters International. He won over 25,000 other folks from global, all of the world, 14, 15, 16 countries. He has gone on to become a master speaker, trainer, salesperson, as well as he has created a program to help you, a process to help you with your speaking sales skills and selling skills. He also has spoken in Taiwan, Canada, Jamaica, Qatar, England, Bahamas, Hong Kong, China, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Australia, India, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, South Africa, Japan, Ireland, just a few of the places that he gives as many as 160 speeches per year. And is a dad and a husband and is just a great entrepreneur. So I am excited to have him as my guest, and I'm excited to have him on the show today. So you were telling us you grew up in Colombia. You had some negative input that impacted your confidence. Someone said you talk like Daffy Duck, but you decided to work on you and become better and become a better communicator and went on to win the world championship. Then you, in order to get there, you lost your first contest, but you didn't give up. Well, how did you go on to become the world champion? And then what do you teach people that you learned in that process?
Well, it's interesting because I had heard you say a long time ago that the past is a place of reference, not residence.
That's right.
You're not supposed to live there, right? So
that's right.
I looked in the past. I said, well, who struggled in the past? And I found a guy named Demosthenes who was a great Greek orator, but before he was a great Greek orator, he had a speech impediment. And so he would go into Congress and try to speak, and they would just laugh at him. And then I heard that he had gone out, put marbles in his mouth, and that would help him try to articulate. And then I heard he would run on the beaches of Greece while he was giving his message, while he was delivering his message to get his breathing right. So I did the same thing. Instead of marbles, I used bubble gum, little gumballs. I put them in my mouth. I tried to make myself articulate better. It worked. Now, I was slobbering a little bit, but it worked. And then when I got instead of going to the beach, I would just run up and down the hills near my house and recite my message, and that worked on my breathing. And so I made things harder than they had to be. And by the time I got to the World Championship, it had felt like I had envisioned it so many times, it had felt like I was at home. And then I was able to win that. And then after that, I got with one of the national training firms, and that's when I really started to cut my teeth into sales. Because, Willie, the more you sold, like you would do a 2-day workshop, but the more products you sold for them, the bigger audiences they would put you in front of.
Wow.
Which meant you can make more in commissions.
Yes.
You get more wealth. So I specifically remember thinking, I need something that's going to give me an edge in selling so they can put me in front of these bigger audiences and I can make the big bucks.
Right.
But I also don't want to repel my audience by selling too much. I don't want to be that guy. So I thought, I'm going to make selling as scientific and as invisible as possible. I said, I know it's an art, but I'm going to make it a science. Yeah. So what I did was I painstakingly crafted this 2-day-long presentation, and I put all of these, what I like to call ingredients in from, Bob Cialdini and Kevin Hogan and Joseph Sugarman and all these people who mastered influence. And from the very first word to the very last word, I put that into my presentation. And I'll tell you what the result was. In the speaking industry, with the seminars, we look at a measurement called dollars per cap. Okay, that's what you're measured by in these training firms. And it means how many dollars per attendee did you make? Did you sell? Now, in the speaking industry, the average for management trainers at the time was about $15 per cap. That meant trainers sold about $15 per person in the room. That was average. Now, way above average, a superstar would have been like $25 per cap, and he would have been, or she would have been considered great. But because I had put all these special formulas in, all these ingredients into my presentation, I ended up averaging $42 per cap.
Wow.
It was huge. It was basically unheard of. And it wasn't because of me. I'm just like everybody else. I'm a kid with a lisp. But it was because of these tools that we put into it, these ingredients that we put into it. And then as a result, I got put in front of the bigger audiences, I got booked more, and I was able to make a pretty good living. And the only person who had higher per cap than me was a guy, but people wrote bad evaluations about him, and they said things like, well, this whole thing was one big infomercial. And that's the last thing I wanted people to think about mine. So that's when I really came up with the concept of being able to do what I call SWAP, SWAP, which is selling without annoying people.
Wow, selling without annoying people. Now, before we go into selling without annoying people, I want to tell people who are in business. Now, whether you work for somebody, let me refrain or retract that and give you even a bigger net. I want to talk to everybody who wants to influence somebody else, whether it's your mate, whether it's your children, whether it's some of your family members, whether it's a customer, whether it's a client, whether it's a business associate, that you want to influence someone else to see and accept and take on your thinking or whatever you have as a product or service. You will have to do some selling. Now, I sold my wife to say yes to marry me. Because she said no for a long time until I was able to sell her, and she said yes. I have sold my family members, my children, on the values I want them to take on. I've sold clients on being able to come in and speak for them or buying my books. And so everybody who has had some success in any endeavor has had to learn how to influence. Influence really means being able to sell something to others. Everybody wants to buy. Nobody wants to be sold. That's just, that's the old saying.
Right.
Everybody wants a new car. You got to buy a new car, but they don't want to be sold. They don't want to. Everybody wants a house, but they don't want to feel like they were sold a bill of goods. Everybody wants some nicer life, and so how do they do it? Is to learn how to swap, and that's what Craig Valentine is the king of. In fact, let me tell y'all something. This is honest truth. Many years ago, I was at an event, and I was sharing my books, and someone said to me, I didn't like how you sold them. And I took it, as a valid critique. So I called Les Brown, and I said, Les, I want to know how to do this better. I do it okay, but I could do better. I need to get some coaching in this. He said, Willie, I'm gonna tell you, flat on the floor, the best is Craig Valentine. Get his program. Just get it. It's the best I've ever heard. It is brilliant. And I did. And it worked. And that critique went away because he helps you not try and sell somebody per se, but to influence that you can help them have greater life or greater ideas or greater decisions or greater performance. Whatever it is, that's what he does. And I'm telling you, he's the best at it in the world. How did you come up with this thinking, Craig?
Well, I had to, because I would have starved. When I was working with the National Seminar Company, I knew that's what they needed. And so I just studied everything I can get my hands on about sales, and then I had my experiences because I was speaking every day. So when you mix it all up, you see what's working and what's not working, and then you start to develop some models for yourself. And some of the models I developed early were based on the big top 3 mistakes that people usually make when it comes.
Well, let's talk about those mistakes. What are some of the? In fact, we're going to take a quick break because I want to, folks, get your pads out, your pencils out, your iPads out, your iPhones out. Get your note-taking apparatus ready because when we come back, I'm gonna let him loose. I'm going to have him talk about some of the mistakes that people make in attempting to sell, and then what they could do to improve that, and what are the keys to be able to swap, sell without annoying people, and where does the wealth mindset fit into this whole concept? Because we want more people to create wealth and have generational wealth. I tell people that you got to think differently. If you're the indigent people, think day to day. The poor in America think month to month, waiting for the welfare check. Middle class folks think year to year. Rich people think decade to decade, and the wealthy think generational. We're going to tell you how to do that. We'll be right back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and I got an email from a gentleman in Australia who shared how he had been struggling in his business, and he bought some of my books and audios, and how it had a profound impact on his business, and he went from worst to first in his company. I shared with him how much I appreciated his note, but I told him those books, those audios, those videos were not just something that I just thought up one day and started to write. They were born out of my experiences, out of the challenges of overcoming the problems and the difficulties and how I was able to do it. And I shared with him that others have sent similar messages and that these resources work. I want to encourage you and invite you to go to my store. Go to wjspeaks.com/shop. wjspeaks.com/shop. Get some of the books. It only takes a minute to change your life. Or a setback is a setup for a comeback. Or turn setbacks into greenbacks. Or chicken soup for the soul. Or an attitude of excellence. Or the book I wrote with my wife after 34 years of being married and not having an argument in over 30 years. We wrote a book called Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. And now it is saving marriages all over the globe. Go to the store. Get some of the audios, the videos, the books, the resources to help you have greater personal and professional success. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. Make this a great day on purpose. And we're back with my special guest, one of the best sales trainers, and named, voted for, awarded the World Championship for Public Speaking in 1999 from Toastmasters International, Craig Valentine. Craig, I'm telling you, it's a pleasure to have you, man. You are busy, and I'm grateful that you could fit me into this schedule. So we were talking about what are some of the mistakes people make when they are attempting to sell. Tell us some of the mistakes.
The biggest mistake is they actually try to sell the product or
wow.
the service.
Oh, that sounds like something counterintuitive. Come on.
Exactly. Yeah, you think if you want to sell the product, you got to sell the product, but you don't. You never sell a product. You always sell the result. You never sell a service. You always sell the result. Even an idea. You never sell an idea. You always sell the result. If you're in leadership, I always say you never sell change. Always sell the result. And if you're going for an interview, never sell yourself. Well, I've got 15 years of experience. Nobody cares. Always sell the result. And here's the case in point. Decades ago, I went to buy my first car ever in life, and I went to the dealership, and the salesperson came up to me and he says, "Are you looking at that car?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Great, let me tell you about it. This car has these types of brakes, this type of engine, this type of window, this type." What's he trying to sell me? He's trying to sell me the car. So I said, "Never mind, I'm not interested." I went to a different dealership on the same day, different salesperson, same car. Now, Willie, I got to be honest, this guy must have anticipated where I was in my life at that time. I was young and single, and as we like to say, looking to mingle.
Right.
Right. And so he comes up to me and says, "Are you looking at that car?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "You're going to look good in that one." Yeah. He said, "You're going to be flying down the road, the wind's going to be blowing through your hair, and the girls, let me tell you, the girls will be all over you." I said, "Where do I sign?"
There you go.
Right? And he didn't make the sale because he sold me the car. He made it because he sold me the result. And Willie, he lied. I was lonely in that car. I tell my audiences nowadays, it was just me and my payment. But here's the key. Don't lie, but definitely don't sell the product, the service, the idea, the change, or yourself. Always sell the result. Always sell the result. So that's the number one mistake, is they sell the product when you need to be selling the result. What's in it for them to get that product? Now, like, for example, when I was with McGraw-Hill, the textbook company, and I had those 233% of goal years, and I had a 3-time salesperson a year, all that stuff. You know why? Because I knew that the other sales reps were selling the textbook. Look at the white space in the textbook. Look at the words. Look at how readable it is. You know what I was selling? The test scores. Not not literally, but I was selling the test scores in terms of, do you want your students to have higher test scores? Well, you need this system because it aligns with the state curriculum.
Wow.
So I was selling test scores. They're selling textbooks, and I'm winning hands over feet on top of them. So that's one of the biggest mistakes is selling the product. You want to hear another one?
Yes.
All right, it's putting the resource first. And let me explain that. And this has to do with not only selling something for money, but just like when you came to Baltimore and worked with my homeless men and sold them on their own value and their own worth. I say to my audiences every now and then, I say, raise your hand if a year from now you'd like to be at least 3 times better than the presenter you are today. Right? And whether I'm speaking to CEOs or students, all hands go up.
Right.
And then I say, great, then for absolutely free, you can go to one of my websites, which is 52speakingtips.com. That's 52speakingtips.com. And every week for a year, you're going to get an audio lesson from me. And at the end of that year, you will be at least 3 times better than the presenter you are today. Now, let me just deconstruct that for a second. What was the result? 3 times better.
Yep.
What was the resource? The website, 52 Speakers. Which one did I mention first? A lot of times people will say free. You mentioned free. but what I mentioned first was the result.
Right.
So here's the addition to that formula. Never sell a product, always sell the result. Always put the result before the resource. And in leadership, you always want to state the result before the request. Because honestly, Willie, if I did it like most people, if I did it the other way around, it would have sounded like this. Raise your hand if you'd like to receive 52 emails from me.
Right.
And then my opt-in rate wouldn't be as high. So extremely important to never sell a product, always sell the result, always put the result before the resource, always state the result before the request. And the last mistake I'll tell you here, not the last mistake, but the mistake number 3 is people offer too many next steps. Offer one exact next step. You've probably seen it from the stage, Willie. Speakers are up there and they're offering a silver package and I've got a gold package, I've got a platinum package, I've got a cubic zircon. I got all these different packages, and I always say to people, there's an old saying that a confused mind says no. Well, I've added on to that. A confused mind says no, but a clear mind says go. And you'll only be clear if you give them one exact next step to take rather than multiple next steps. Think about what I just did before. I gave you one exact next step, which is to go to 52speakingtips.com.
Right.
I didn't say go there, and if you don't go there, go to 50 Speaking Secrets, or if you don't go there, go to CraigValentine.com. If you don't go there, go to Speak and Prosper Academy. No, I'm not going to confuse you like that. One exact next step. Okay? So that's important. Never sell a product, always sell the result, always put the result before the resource, and give them one exact next step. So those are some of the mistakes.
Say that again. Say that one more time.
Yeah, so never sell a product, always sell the result, always put the result before the resource, and get them to take one exact next step, because a confused mind says no and a clear mind says go. Getting rid of those mistakes is going to put you far and away above where most people are when it comes to getting people to take an exact next step.
But
getting rid of those mistakes.
While we're there, before we go any further, let's make sure whoever is listening, because now that their mouths are watering and they want more to know how to get to you, how to get something that can help them from you, where should people go for either your books, your resources, or whatever? Where should people go to contact Craig Valentine? Where should they go?
Well, the front door is just what I said before. If you want to be a better presenter, you want to be better at sales, you want to be better at building wealth, then you want to come through my front door, which is the 52speakingtips.com, because that's free and it's a low barrier to entry. Come in there and you'll get so much content, and then we can talk from there.
Wow. Man, this is good. Now, if they Googled Craig Valentine to bring you to speak or something for their organization, where would that take them?
Yeah, that would most likely take you to CraigValentine.com.
Okay.
Okay, and then you just request for me to speak, and then we'll have a conversation, and we'll see what I can do for you. Because, I've been, like Willie said, I've been speaking upwards of 160 times per year. I've cut back some now because I have 2 teenagers.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and a wife.
Yeah.
Married 21 years. But yeah, feel free to go to CraigValentine.com, reach out to me there, and I'll be glad to
And
help.
some people are going to want the book. There's a great book that you have because some people are listening are overseas in China, Japan, South Africa, Nigeria. So yeah, but I want to order that book. Where what is the book and where can they order it?
So the best-selling book is called World Class Speaking, and you just go to Amazon.com.
Okay.
Just go to Amazon.com, World Class Speaking. We also have a book called World Class Speaking in Action, which 50 of my students wrote.
Wow.
And that also went to number 1 on the bestsellers list.
Wow.
So you can go to either one of those to get that.
Wow. Whoo. Now let's talk about the keys to be able to swap. That's a whole nother thing, to be able to swap, to get people. Now, part of it obviously is the selling of the result, but there's some other specifics that you have that are so profound. Talk a little bit about the whole swap process.
Well, I think what's important to understand after you realize you have to sell the results and give them one exact next step, one of the things that's important to realize is that not everybody's motivated by the same thing.
But that's
right?
Powerful. That's the truth.
Yeah. I mean, when I graduated with my MBA from Johns Hopkins University, my wife threw me this great big surprise party, and people came from all over the place. And I remember thinking, wow, this is really nice, but I'd much rather have a one-on-one dinner with my wife because that's who I am.
Right.
That's who I am. Now, when my wife graduated with her graduate degree, I threw her a one-on-one dinner. You know, and what do you think she wanted? She even said to me, where's my surprise party?
Right, where's my party?
And I said, well, you're surprised, aren't you? It's only me. And I tell you what, that didn't go over well. And reason being is because we gave each other what we ourselves wanted. And there's so many relationships that are messed up because of that, so many sales that don't happen, because it goes back to what Tony Alessandra said. You got to give them the platinum rule. Meet them where they need to be met. Treat them the way they need to be treated. And so it was important for me to understand that I need to do something. And so I came up with a model called the EDGE.
Okay.
And the EDGE is EDGE. And it stands for, these are 4 different categories of the types of results that you need to get out to your to your prospects. And the first one is esteem. Esteem-based results. Is it going to give them more recognition? Is it going to get them to be better known? Is it going to give them more confidence? People need that. Is it going to help their self-esteem or their self-worth or their self-image? So if you can come up with some results that touch on esteem, those people will be motivated. The D stands for do more. All right? In the EDGE formula, the D stands for do. Is it going to be able to get them to do more today than most people can do? And I think those 2 words, most people, are very important. In fact, if anybody's listening, they should write this down. Most people don't want to be most people.
That's right.
I learned this from you and Les.
Right.
Because you always, when I would hear you speak and I would try to deconstruct it, you would say things like, well, most people do this. And most people do this. And I would say to myself, not me. Oh, no, that's not going to be me. So when I say to people, most people live their lives on get set. They take their marks, they get ready, they get set, and they never go. And unfortunately, most people die on get set. People say, not me. So I think those 2 words, most people, are 2 of the most influential words in our language. So the D stands for do more. The G stands for gain more. And this is, I want you to write down the word profit, because you can either make more money or save more money or free up time. And I always say this, if you can let your long road lead to their shortcut, you made the sale. Let your long road, all the work you put in, all the exploration you did, let your long road lead to their shortcut, and that's going to help make the sale. And then the last one, which is the E in the EDGE formula, is enjoy. Is enjoy more. Is it going to help them have more pleasure, more freedom, but also flip that? Is it going to help them have less stress, less frustration? And that's important because sometimes people are more motivated by what they want to avoid than by what they want to attain. So if we're following this formula now, all together, it's never sell a product, always sell the result, always put the result before the resource. You want to make sure you give them one exact next step, and then you want to take them across the edge.
Folks, I told you this guy was the real deal. This is brilliant, brilliant. We're going to take a quick break. for station identification and more information. And we're going to be right back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways Show. And for sure, your best is yet to come. We'll be right back.
Friendship is not about being convenient. It's about being committed and consistent.
You can call on me
When you need me,
call me. You can call on me.
call me.
You can call on me.
Pick up the phone
You can call
and call me.
If you need me, you can What good is a friend if you cannot depend on them when you're in need?
Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and people often ask, how did I go from a broke, busted nightclub singer to become a best-selling author and to be voted one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world by the 175,000 members of Toastmasters International? The answer is that I decided to invest and change my thinking, invest in my mindset, and decided to change my inputs because inputs determine outputs. I heard about a seminar years ago when I was just getting started. I was making about $100 a speech. And I heard this seminar that was creating millionaires, and it cost $10,000, but the guy was getting results. I didn't have that kind of money, but I decided to borrow it because I learned that there's a price for success, the price of college, the price of going to school, the price of education. And there's a price for success, and then there's a cost for not paying the price, the cost of staying the same. And that cost is greater than the price. It's too expensive. And so I went and it changed my life. And I came back and quickly made $100,000. I heard a similar story from Dr. Dave Martin, how he went to a success rally, heard a speaker who inspired him. He and his friends said, wow, that's changed my life. The speaker had a package of materials to help build wealth. The package cost $1,500. And that was all the money Dr. Dave had to his name. Dr. Dave's friend asked, do you think this stuff is worth it? Dr. Dave thought for a moment. He said, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. But I do know that I'm worth it. I'm worth it. He invested that money in that package and used the materials to grow his thinking. He grew his mindset. He shared how that $1,500 investment has gone on to generate millions in revenues. He's a multimillionaire. And he has homes now in Arizona and Florida. I want to say to you, it's time to invest in you. I want to give you some materials that will help you, grow your mindset, grow your future, grow your finances. Go to wjspeaks.com/billionaire. wjspeaks.com/billionaire to get some materials that will inspire your success and will help you find that there's a price for success, but there's a cost for not paying the price. And the cost is always greater than the price. Go to wjspeaks.com/billionaire and get the bag, the box, or any of the materials there and keep growing your wealth. And remember, as a man thinketh, so as he is, and your best is yet to come.
Motivated, highly motivated, motivated, gonna take it to the top. Motivated, highly motivated, motivated, I'm never gonna stop. I had a job I really hated. It made me sick, but it got me motivated. I knew that this was not where I was meant to be. I didn't want to stay, but I was too afraid to leave. Then one day I got my check, there was almost nothing there. I went to the boss, he laughed and said he didn't care. My kids were at home hungry, I was about to lose my home. That's when I decided I had to make it on my own. Said,
And we're back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley and the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways Show. I told y'all to take notes. I told you to pull your pencils out. So if you missed it, you can hear it on one of the other times it airs here on this station if you're listening to the network. And if not, you can listen at your pleasure, at your leisure, over and over again on my podcast, the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast, which is available now on more places. It's let's see, we got iHeartRadio, C-Suite Radio, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and I just had 2 more people who said they want to put my content on their network. So you'll be hearing even more coming up soon. So just look it up wherever you get your podcast, Willie Jolley, Wealthy Ways, and get this. Craig Valentine is a master. He's a master at helping you to achieve more, to receive more, to accomplish more, because he helps you to influence people to say yes more. You say yes to their dreams, yes to their goals, yes to their potential, yes to their possibilities, because they want what you have to offer to help them to get to those goals. It's about result-based influence. And that's why he has created an empire to help him do that. Now, we want to talk about that because wealth is important. We talk about wealthy ways. And where does the wealth mindset fit into your sales system?
Well, I always tell people that the skill set without the mindset will leave you upset.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, you can have the best skills in the world, but if you don't have that wealthy ways mindset, you're going to hold yourself back.
That's right.
I mean, that's just the truth. And I learned this the hard way. I had to go through it. Because I remember when I first started speaking, I was kind of squeamish about selling products. Right? And I remember going to see, this is what helped me out. I remember going to a function, and there was a poet, and she was fantastic. And she recited 2 of her poems. And I went up to her afterwards. This will tell you how long ago it was by the medium. But I went up to her afterwards, and I said, I'd like to purchase your audio CDs. And she looked down, and she said, well, I don't have any. I ran out about a year ago, and I haven't, as she put it, I haven't re-upped. And I walked away, and I thought, man, that stinks.
Right.
Like, how am I supposed to remember what she said? How am I supposed to really get the benefit? I felt disappointed. I felt cheated.
Yeah.
Because as amazing as her poems were, I had no way of taking them home with me and kind of continuing that education. And the poem was just a spark. If I had been able to have some products, I could have kept the fire burning. And I just felt cheated. And then I realized that maybe that's what's happening to my audience. And then I was in New Brunswick, Canada, speaking, and there were 2 other speakers on the dais. And afterwards, we each had our own tables. Now, not to brag, Willie, but I connected with our audience better than the other 2 speakers. But I hadn't brought any products. And I had this huge line because of the connection I had with my audience. And then finally, one of the ladies came up and she said, well, where are your products? And I said, I didn't bring anything. You want an autograph or something? And you should have seen the look of disbelief on her face. And she just turned around to the other people in line. I'll never forget. She said, he doesn't even have any products.
Wow.
And then guess what they did? They hopped in the line of the other 2 speakers.
Wow.
And that's when I realized I just did what the poet did to me. I just cheated my audience. And to make things worse, I'm sure they didn't even look at me as being as professional as they thought I was before. They had lost confidence in me.
Right.
And so that's when I said, well, things have to change. I'm not hawking products. I'm helping people. And that's what I had to get into my mindset. And again, like I said before, the skill set without the mindset will leave you upset, and I wasn't going to be upset anymore.
Wow.
And so now that I have testimonials from all over the world that my products are working for people, now I even you, when you left me a voicemail telling me about how well you did with the back of the room sales program.
When I use your system, man, it was off the chain, the response I got, because I changed my system to your system, didn't swap, didn't try and sell them anything, talked about how I could give them a result that they wanted.
Yeah, and that's the Back of the Room Sales program, which you can find at backoftheroomsales.com. And that's what Willie and Les have been talking. And Les said it was the greatest sales program ever for his profession. So I just felt really good about that.
That's right. He wasn't lying, folks. Les Brown raves about Craig Valentine and Craig's programs. So I want to encourage you, if you're in sales, and as I said earlier, everybody really is in sales. I've said it in a number of my books. The greatest teachers sell education. The greatest preachers sell faith. The greatest parents sell their values. The greatest spouses sell their mindset. And so if you're in sales, which everybody is, you need to have his product. What product would you say they should, if they want to, they're going to get to 52 now. They're going to go get to 52 tips. But I want something to help me with my sale. I want to purchase something. I want to buy something. What would you recommend they buy?
I would definitely go to backoftheroomsales.com, because even though it's intended for speakers, just like Willie, just like Les, just like Bill Cates, the people who have used it, whether they're speaking or not, whether it's a one-on-one conversation or you're speaking to a group or what have you, that's the program that's going to give you this entire system. I just touched on the edges right now on this call, but there's this whole then, now, and how process that you can take people through that are going to get people to basically run to the back of the room or run to you to get what you want.
Backoftheroomsales.com?
Backoftheroomsales.com. That's the one.
Wow.
And Willie, if I can say this,
yes.
I really have so much admiration for you. You treated me better than anybody else when I first started in this industry. I want to just remind you that when it comes to selling, as you touched on before, it's important to remember that some of the most important sales that we make have nothing to do with products or even money.
Yes.
And I remember years ago when I invited you to come speak to a program for homeless men in Baltimore City that I was running, an employment academy, and we had this graduation ceremony, and you spoke to those men, and they talked about you for years.
Wow.
And you sold them on their own worth, and you sold them on reclaiming their lives, and you sold them on their own dreams. And sometimes those are the biggest sales that we can make. And one of the things I learned from Alan Weiss was sometimes, and this comes to your wealthy mindset, sometimes the first pitch is to yourself.
Wow. Woo! That's right.
And I'll just finish with this. Decades ago, I used to be an events manager for a company that put on technology expos around the country. And one of my jobs, believe it or not, Willie, was setting up the stage for the speaker. I mean, can you imagine that? All the while, I wanted to be the speaker.
Wow.
So I'd go into these ballrooms, I'd set up these chairs, I'd tape down the power cords, I'd move the lectern around, I'd set up more chairs, but it never, ever failed. Whenever I was in one of those empty ballrooms, I'd walk to the front, I'd stand behind the lectern, I'd look out, and I'd hope that one day people would show up to see me, because I was working on my mindset. And I had a saying every time I stood behind one of these lecterns, I'd say to myself, today I move the chairs, tomorrow I move the audience.
Wow. Man, and that's powerful. Today I move the chairs. Oh, but I'm not settling for that, because tomorrow I'm going to move audiences, and lots of them. And you have done that. You have done that, and now people all over the world clamor to get Craig Valentine to come and speak. And this is what I want to say to all of you. Some of you who are listening, you think that, well, I'm just a low-level employee, or I'm a new business owner, or I'm a small-time entrepreneur, or I'm a mom and pop, or even I'm a corporate exec, but I've hit a ceiling. I don't know if I can go further. And I want you to listen to Craig Valentine's story, that he was an events manager before he became a world champion speaker. He was an events manager, moving the chairs, checking the lectern, making sure everything was right, to make sure that the speaker had a great experience. But he did not let his present position limit his future possibilities. And he kept thinking about the bigger and kept preparing and pushing and working on himself. There's something greater in you, whoever you are, a Mrs. or Mr. Contributor, Mr. or Mrs. Small Business Person. There's something bigger in you. And I just want to show you through Craig Valentine's story and his example that it's possible. Come on. And it just takes a new mindset. Well, one of the things, we only got a minute and a half. I want to make sure that we get one more thing. Why is it important to be wealthy, Craig? Why is it important to be wealthy?
To me, if you're wealthy, you can give. You can't give what you don't have. You can't give what you don't have. And so if you can have a wealthy mindset and you can be wealthy, you can continue the flow of giving.
Wow.
And receiving.
That's
and
it.
I try not to cut off either one.
Wow, don't cut off either receiving or giving. That I told somebody the other day, God did not limit in the Bible nowhere how much I can give to my church, to a community. He did not limit my giving capacity. So that means he must not limit my creating and receiving capacity. Come on, somebody. So look, I've had him. I got goosebumps today from this great interview. Craig Valentine, one more time, where can they reach you?
You can reach me at 52speakingtips.com. 52speakingtips.com. And Willie, thank you so much for having me on. This is a dream come true.
Man, it's a joy, a privilege, and a pleasure. Folks, I want to thank you all. I want to thank Craig. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for listening to this show, for sharing it with Lottie, Dottie, and everybody. I'm asking you to put it out to everybody in your network. Tell them you got to listen to Dr. Willie Jolley, Wealthy Ways. You got to listen to it. I also encourage you to do a couple more things. Listen to me on Get Up Mornings with Erica Campbell every day, Monday through Friday on the Praise Network. Listen to me on my Monday night Happily Married Monday with the Jollies on Facebook Live, Willie.Jolley, and listen to our podcast on iHeart, C-Suite, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Thank our sponsor, jollygoodnews.org, for what the work they are doing and making a difference in people's lives. We want you all to join us in this effort to change the world with some positive influence and not so much negative. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show, saying to you, for sure, your best is yet to come. Have a great week on purpose. God bless you. Well, I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode, and I hope you got something of great value. And I hope that you were inspired, you were motivated, you were empowered, and you were encouraged to live your best life. I hope this information and this inspiration will help you to do more, be more, and to achieve more. That's the goal why I started this program, and I hope it helped you in a mighty way. Now, I ask you to make sure and that you take full advantage of all the resources that came through this program. I hope you go to wjspeaks.com/gift and get some of the free resources that we have there for you. I hope you go to wjspeaks.com/shop to get some of the books that we have created, that we've labored over to make sure that they will deliver a powerful message to you. I hope you go to williejolly.com/billionaire, williejolly.com/billionaire, or wjspeaks.com/billionaire to get the box that it will inspire your whole family, or get the bag of books. Make this a great day, a great week, a great month. And remember, it is true that you are blessed and all things are possible for them that believe. So make the most of the belief that you have now in your future. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. Have a great day.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.